Hello, my name is David Kendall. I'm chair of the Department of Business and Economics at UVa-Wise. This little video that I'm making today is intended to help students understand how to use what I call our checkoff sheet, our Business and Economics departmental checkoff sheet for our majors. As you can see on the screen that you're watching, the checkoff sheet is set up in a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. The point of this spreadsheet is to show students what they need to do to complete their degree with a major in one of our three majors, accounting, business, or economics. First thing I'd like to show you is down at the bottom of the worksheet. We have three different tabs, one for accounting, which I just clicked. Scroll up so we can see all of it. One for business majors, and the third one, of course, for economics majors. So when you begin to work with your own checkoff sheet, each of our majors needs to have one of these and keep it up to date each semester. You click the proper worksheet for your major, whether it would be accounting, business, or economics. Since most of our majors in the department are business majors, I'm going to use the BUS or business major tab to illustrate how to use the spreadsheet and take you around it and give you a little bit of information about it. The first thing that you'll see is up at the very top there are a set of cells that identify who you are and some other information. What I'm going to do right off the bat here, because I'm working from the template, is I'm going to go ahead and save this spreadsheet like you might want to do. I'm going to do a save as, and I'm just going to find a place on my desktop here to save it, and I'm just going to give it a new name here, B&E Checkoff Sheet for 2013, and I'll call it Example. Type that in, and I save it. Of course, I can create as many of these as I would like to. I could create a new one for each semester if I wanted to, but really what you should be doing is just updating the original one that you should work with your assigned advisor to get set up initially and get it set up correctly. So let's see what we have here starting at the top. You'll notice throughout the spreadsheet any number of these cells have a little red triangle attached to them, and each time there's a little triangle attached to a cell, it gives you some information about the spreadsheet. Let's start up here at the top. First one we see is it says Advising Checkoff Worksheet. If I hover over that red triangle, it will allow me to read the comment that's attached there. If I wanted to, I can right click on that and I can click Show Comment so it'll stay open, in fact. And here it says to set up the spreadsheet, follow these steps. Type the student's name, the student ID number, which is to be found on your CAV card. That's your CAV card ID number or your GensBar ID number. That ID number needs to go in the spreadsheet so that when you send it back and forth between yourself and your academic advisor, immediately the academic advisor will have your ID number and can look up anything that he or she might need to find in your records in the GensBar system. Put in your UVa-Wise email address over here in the cell that's provided. And type in the catalog year that you declare your major, because that's the one that's really going to govern what you need to do to complete your degree with a major that you're trying to complete. Alright, and it says type in the total transfer credit hours that will be taken from the registrar's course history, which you can find at all times in what's called the student portal of the GensBar system. You can see your own course history, you can see your degree audit, any number of things in what's called the student portal. You can see what courses you've taken and any courses that you've transferred in. All that information is there. So I'm going to turn this off now. I'm going to hide the comment so it won't be in the way. Typically, it's sufficient just to hover over a cell with a comment in it, then you can see what it is. A lot of these comments is the one I'm hovering over right now. For example, I'm hovering over the comment for the literature requirement. in the Gen Ed requirement of the college block here, the green block, it says English courses numbered 2120 to 3260, and literature courses taught by the foreign language faculty, and it excludes, excuse me, it says, I didn't even read it, let me read it. It says English 1010 and 1020 are prerequisites for literature courses. So all of these little red triangle comments that you can pop up by hovering over them, they give you some information frequently. That information is about prerequisites for courses that you're looking at. Okay, so let's type in here. Let's just see how we'd use this. Let's suppose we're going to put in here Joe Cool Tester, which is a fictitious student that the registrar frequently uses to run examples. I'm just going to make up a student ID number here. Maybe it's 34, 43, 50, 22 or something, whatever it is. I type it right in there. The catalog. This spreadsheet, by the way, that I'm working with it's got information in it for the new requirements that begin for our majors in fall of 2013. We have another similar checkoff sheet for 2012 and earlier years, but I'll just use this one for 2013 to illustrate how you use the spreadsheet. So let's imagine that this is a student coming in and is going to be governed by the 2013 catalog. So I'd type that in, and I always like to put in the date of the spreadsheet so we can see when it was last updated. So here we are in February. This is February. I can just do it this way. I can say 2/27 is today, 2013, and it displays that way. I can get it to display another way if I wanted to. Of course, if you're familiar with Microsoft Excel, you know that you can get cells to display in different. Well, and this, you need to put an email address in here. I don't know Joe Cool Tester's email, so I'm just going to make one up, joe at UVA-Wise.edu, and put that in there. This should be, generally, this should be the email that you get email at. We hope that that might be your UVA-Wise email address, because we send a lot of information to you as our majors using that email address. So I encourage every one of our majors to use their UVA-Wise email address. All right, let's take a little tour around. Let's take a tour around the spreadsheet, see what we've got. Up here at the top, I didn't put any total transfer credit hours in here. I'll show you that feature in a minute, but let's for right now assume that Joe Cool Tester, see I misspelled that, get that right, Joe Cool Tester is a native student. He isn't a transfer student, he's just coming in as a freshman perhaps. Freshmen don't necessarily declare their majors as freshmen. They can do that. We encourage students to declare their major as early as they believe they know what they're interested in. Certainly by the time they're a sophomore, they might have some ideas about that, even if they hadn't had any as a freshman. And then, of course, by the time they've completed 60 hours, they're going to need to declare a major in something. You can always change your major, so go ahead and declare one. You can change it easily. It doesn't take any time to do that. It doesn't hurt, it's not painful. So go ahead and declare a major. If you think you're interested in either accounting, business, or economics, go ahead and declare a major in that and get started. Let's take a look here at the general education block, which applies to all students who are enrolled in UVA-Wise to complete a degree. See that it's the green block. We hover over the Gen Ed message there. Says a single course cannot satisfy more than one Gen Ed requirement. Okay, so there's a little bit of information about that. We see at the top we have English, literature, then math requirements, PE, and so on down the list. Now, if I hover over the English comment, it says that we need a 6-hour sequence, or you could test out of your English, or it could be that you took English 103 honors. Most of our students, of course, are going to take English 1010 and then follow that with English 1020. Some will have sufficient background that they could take the 103 honors, but usually they're going to just take those courses just as they're listed. In general, although not entirely, certainly it's not so necessarily true in the Gen Ed block as it is in the other blocks that we'll talk about here in a minute. But in general, you just work from the top down in terms of looking at what you have to take. As you might know, courses with lower course numbers should generally be taken before courses with higher course numbers. We actually have two major categories. We call them lower division courses, which are the 1,000 and 10,000, 2,000 courses. I'm sorry, 1,000, 2,000, 999 courses. And then we have upper division courses, which begin with the number 3,000 and go up through 4,999. Most of the courses that you'll see in your Gen Ed requirements are going to be lower division courses. So let's see how we would work this. Here comes Joe Cool Tester. He's just enrolling now, and so this is his first semester. And let's suppose that it is indeed fall of 2013. Well, he hasn't completed any courses yet, so he doesn't have any hours showing in the cells. But he can use this for planning as well. So he's setting up his schedule here, planning right from the very beginning. So, well, I'm going to type fall 2013 right in that cell. Now that signifies that I haven't taken the course. I haven't put a number in there that can be added up to the total down here. And so notice it's not recording anything here for hours completed because he hasn't completed it yet. He's just signifying he's going to take that course in fall 2013. Now, as a freshman student, he's also going to want to take some other Gen Ed courses. In fact, usually the freshman year, 2 semesters, and maybe even into the first sophomore semester in the following fall, maybe even beyond that, students will be taking a lot of Gen Ed requirements. Shouldn't worry too much about courses over here in the blue area, and certainly not in the yellow area if you're going to be one of our majors, until you have gotten a lot of these Gen Ed requirements out of the way. But here's Joe, and he says, well, I've got to take some math. And as it turns out, we have a math requirement in our department, and the college has a math requirement as well. And it turns out that our math requirement for our department does satisfy the Gen Ed requirement for the college as well. It says to satisfy the department's mathematics requirement and Gen Ed requirement, all majors of the department must complete at a minimum with a grade of C or better. Notice it says C or better. It won't do you any good to get a C minus. It won't work for us. It might work for the college. It'll work for the college to satisfy its Gen Ed requirement, but it won't satisfy our departmental requirement if you want to major in our department. You have to have at least Math 1010, college algebra, and a second 3-hour math course numbered higher than Math 1110. So it can't be Math 1110. It has to be higher than that. A lot of students are going to end up taking in our department a course Math 1150, which is called Applications of Mathematics. But let's suppose that Joe decides he's going to take math. He hasn't had college algebra, and he's going to take Math 1010. Since there are a lot of different courses he could take, that's not already filled in, so he has to type in here. He wants to type in Math 1010, and he hasn't completed it yet, but he's going to take it in fall 2013, so he types that in. He's got 2 courses that he's going to take now. And maybe he's going to take a PE course, and he just types in there 2013. Doesn't have to take it right then, but he might want to. And if he's a new freshman, he's going to be enrolled in seminar, freshman seminar, so he's going to show that listed there. So he's got freshman seminar and PE. Those are just 1-hour things or half-hour things even, so those aren't big deals. Maybe Joe's going to take a foreign language. Well, which one? He hovers over here and he says, well, I've got to have a 6-hour sequence, or I've got to test out, or I take the 103 honors section. Maybe he had some high school Spanish and he can go straight into that. Who knows? But most of our students wouldn't be able to do that. So Joe says, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started on my Spanish. I'm going to take Spanish 1000, I guess it is. Maybe that's not the right number, but let's put it in there and imagine it is. So he's got that scheduled, and then now that's going to be how many 3-hour courses? English, math, and Spanish. And since he's going to take a full load, so he's going to take another couple of courses. That's only 9 hours. Maybe that's a half-hour course for his PE. And then seminar, that's no big deal. So he's going to take 2 more 3-hour courses. And let's imagine that Joe says, well, I'll go ahead and take History 1010, the first half of the Western Heritage series. He likes history. He could have taken whatever course he wanted to there that's listed in that comment. You notice it tells you that these courses are available to fill that slot. So he's got one of them, and then let's imagine that Joe's been well advised and he understands that he's going to have this science. So he needs a lab science that has, those are always 4-hour courses, and maybe he's going to take biology. So he takes bio, I'm not sure what the number is. Let's imagine it's 1,000. It's probably not, but I'm going to imagine that. So that I take time to look it up. So now he's got his schedule planned for the fall 2013 semester. And you notice, because he's a freshman, native freshman with us, doesn't have transfer credits or anything, all of his courses in his first semester are in the Gen Ed section. Even though he thinks he's going to be a business major, he's not taking any of these courses over here just yet, because he probably needs to, in fact, get his prerequisites done for them. If we take a look over here, for example, we see we've got an Econ 2050, which is the first econ course that he would take. It has a prerequisite of the Math A, I've called it since it could be different courses. I say it's usually Math 1010. For a lot of our students it will be. So he needs to satisfy that Math A course, the Math 1010, before he goes and enrolls in Econ 2050 anyway. So that's why it's generally a good idea to make sure you check what the prerequisites are on any course you're planning to take, see what they say, and schedule those courses before you attempt to schedule a course over here in our departmental core or anywhere else for that matter. Okay, so here's Joe. He's got those courses scheduled, and let's suppose that Joe's a good student and he passes all of those courses that he has enrolled in for fall of 2013. Now what I'm going to do is show you how Joe would go about updating his checkoff sheet after he's finished that first semester successfully. Well, he completed the English 1010, so now he goes back in at the end of the semester or at the beginning of the next semester. Probably when he's pre-registering for the following semester, he'll know whether he's going to pass or not. We hope so. We hope he knows. We hope he passes with a grade of C or better. So now he's going to type a 3 in there. And notice that it's a red 3 because that's hours completed at UVa-Wise. If it was a transfer credit, we'd use a black number. We can change the color of the number. You know how to do that easily enough, I expect. But so now each of these courses that he had already set up, he's completed them now. To update his spreadsheet, he goes back in here and types in the credit hours. Now, the PE course he took was just a half hour course, so he puts in 0.5. This was a 1 hour course. His freshman seminars puts in a 1. Spanish was a 3-hour course, puts in a 3. History, a 3-hour course, he puts in a 3 after he's passed it. He doesn't have to get a C or better for his history course to satisfy us in the Department of Business Economics. He does have to get a C or better on his math course because we have that math requirement that you can read about in the college catalog that's a little different than the college's math requirement. And in his science course, he had a lab science there, so this is a 4-hour course. He puts a 4 in there. Now, once he's put those numbers in there, notice what's happened down here. Hours completed, it says 17.5 hours. So he's got 17.5 hours of completed credits now, and he's updating his B&E checkoff sheet, which he's done. He's put the hours in. It's showing him he's got 102.5 hours remaining to complete his degree. Now he's sitting here planning for the spring 2014 semester. He's updated, and let's see what he might do for spring. Well, he's, of course, keeping an eye on Gen Ed requirements over here. He knows he's got to satisfy math requirements for both Gen Ed and for our department. And so he's going to go ahead and complete the next 3-hour course in the series that he's selected. Most of our students are going to end up wanting to take Math 1150, which is a course called Applications in Mathematics. Some of our students who are more advanced in their mathematical background might be taking pre-calculus, or they might be taking, maybe they started with calculus to begin with. It just depends on each individual student. This is spring 2014, so he types it in, 2014, he's planning for. He's saying, what course am I going to take? Spring 2014. And now he's probably going to want to continue his Spanish. Whatever the course is, probably a different number than I'm going to put out. Let's say it's 1020, and he's planning that for spring 2014, whatever is the proper number which he gets out of the course schedule. So now he's got 6 hours that he's planning. He thinks, well, I'll go ahead and finish my history. And he says, gosh, I wonder what could I take there. And he looks over here and he hovers over that segment and says, any of those courses would work. He says, well, I did the history 1010. It turns out if you read the catalog, he could do any of these courses. He doesn't have to stay in history. Let's suppose that he's heard that the philosophy 2060 is a good course, and so he changed his mind. And he says, I'm going to go for PHI 2060 instead of the history. Had enough of history for now. So it's 2014, spring 2014. Notice while he's just writing these text fields in here, that doesn't update the hours count. It won't do that until he actually puts a number in there. So now he's got 1, 2, 3 courses scheduled. But Joe, he's going to be a business major, and he knows, because he's looked ahead, he knows that this course over here in what we call our B and E core requirements, these are courses that all of 3 of our majors, accounting, business, and econ, take those courses as part of what we call our core. And he's heard somehow, or his advisor instructed him and told him, he said, well, this BUS 2110 is a course that you need to get out of the way and as early as you can, because it's a prerequisite for other courses that you're going to want to take next semester or semester following. In general, when you're working on core courses, or what we call our major requirements in your planning, you work from top down. Top down. You don't have to do that, but they're set up in a way that if you did that, you're probably going to be doing the right thing. You always want to check prerequisites. He says, well, I'd like to get this course, BUS 2110. He knows that that is a course that is quantitative methods using Microsoft Excel, and he knows that that's a prerequisite course for other courses down here that he's going to want to take. So he wants to get that out of the way, and he's eligible to take it now because he's completed his prerequisite for that, which he can see is right there, Math A, usually the Math 1010. He says, well, I finished that last semester, so I could go ahead and schedule this course for spring 2014. So he decides that he wants to do that because he's just itching to get started on his major. So now he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. So now what could he do? Well, he could do lots of things at this point. He could do another course in his Gen Ed requirements if he likes, or if he's really intent on getting started in his business major, he sees that he's got accounting 210 here. He's saying, well, I've always been interested in accounting. It's the language of business. Maybe I could take that. He doesn't know for sure. He could check with his advisor and ask him, is that a wise thing to do? His advisor might say, well, that's fine. It's a good idea. You could get that done, except that this is a spring semester that you're planning for, and you better check the schedule and see whether or not the Accounting 2010 is available, because that's usually a fall course. It precedes 2020. So maybe that's not such a hot idea. He says, well, okay, he looks at the schedule. It's not available, so he said, well, I wanted to, but I'll have to wait until the next fall term to do that. He could take the COM 1000 rather, COM 1000 if he wanted to. There's probably a section of that. That's a course he might take. He could ask his advisor if that's a good idea. Could be, maybe. Or maybe just go back over here to the Gen Ed and continue hacking away here. He actually needs to go ahead and finish his English 1020, doesn't he? Get that out of the way. So he says, well, that's probably a good idea. So he says spring 2014 on that. So now let's see what Joe's got set up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3-hour courses. That's 15 hours. That's a normal load. So he's all set. All right, Joe's all set for his second semester at UVa-Wise. Well, then what happens? Well, of course, Joe, being the good student he is, after all, Joe Cool Tester. He says, okay, well, he finishes that semester and he gets his grade reports back, and lo and behold, he's passed everything with the C or better that he needed to pass it with, and now he's going to update his spreadsheet once again. See, the general thing that's going to happen with our majors is students complete a semester, they update their spreadsheet, they send that spreadsheet via an email attachment to their academic advisor. At least that's the way I work. Maybe some of my other faculty members like you to actually show up in the office. That's okay too. Whatever they want to do, you need to do what they'd like to do. But if you're my advisee, all you have to do is update your spreadsheet, send it to me, showing here what you're planning to take in the next semester. It's all updated. And then I can go ahead and clear you for pre-registration, which is a new procedure that we're using here at the college. You have to get cleared by your advisor for pre-registration before you can register for the next semester. So now Joe has finished his spring semester. He realized he wants to go ahead and schedule now for maybe he's going to take a summer course, and he's going to schedule for the fall of 2014. But first he needs to update, so he puts the numbers in for the courses he's completed. He just goes in and enters in the credit hours for the courses that he's already passed successfully. Notice it's updated. He's showing 32.5 hours completed now. That's good. He's finished his first full year here at UVa-Wise, and he's ready to go. He's now wanting to put in for fall 2014, planning what he's going to do for that semester. But he knows he's going to take a summer course too. And he says, well, I've noticed that this COM course here is available for summer 2000. It's going to be 2014. He says, I'm going to take that course in the summer, and I'm going to take one other course in the summer. Maybe for some reason, he just wants to do that, and he's looking for a course to take. So what can I take in the summer? What can I take in the summer? He's wanting to get started on his business major if he could, and he's looking around, but he recognizes that, well, these are 3,000 level courses here, so I probably shouldn't go for those yet until I have my lower division courses finished up here. Even though he could take BUS 3180, which is Principles of Marketing, it doesn't have a prerequisite. It is still an upper division course, and it'd probably be better if he waited and got some of these done first, even though he doesn't have to. But let's just, for purposes of illustration, suppose he decides to take MUS 1000 over the summer to knock out yet another one of his general education requirements. Notice I started to put a number in there, but he can't do that because he hasn't actually finished that course. I just noticed something here. He's going to take this course, COM 1000 at UVa-Wise, so that shouldn't be in black, that should be in red, so he changes that to red. Once that cell, I don't know why that cell was set for black, but it was. It's going to be taken here at UVa-Wise, so he wants to show it in red. Just transfer credits are shown in black on the spreadsheet if you do it properly. So he's scheduling himself 2 summer courses, but now he's also scheduling for the coming fall term of 2014. So he's going to finish up his bio, and he's going to take 1020 and get his sciences finished. That's going to be fall 2014, so he's typing that in. He's doing all this in preparation to email this spreadsheet to his academic advisor, if it's me at least. And some of our other faculty in our department also do it that way, I believe. Saves you time and trouble. You don't have to go to the trouble of making an appointment, and saves you some steps if you can get this done this way. So he's going to set up his schedule and then send this on over to his advisor. Let's see, he's got some humanities that he needs to take. Just looking over his agenda, he's got an English lit course. He needs a literature course of some kind. It doesn't have to be English lit, but a lot of students might take an English lit course. let's see what he could take. He hovers. He says, well, I'd like to get my literature done in the fall of 2014, but he doesn't know what courses to take. And he says, oh my goodness, look at all those English courses numbered 2120 through 3260, or some lit courses taught by foreign language faculty. A lot of different courses that he could use there. So now he's going to need to check the Genzabar course schedule for fall 2014, see what's available, or what he may be interested in taking. So he goes and checks on the Genzabar, the student portal, and he checks and he sees, he finds this English 2730, which is, I have no idea, it's 2630 I've typed in. I don't know if that's actually a number, doesn't matter, this is just an example. So we got fall 2014, so he's got 2 courses scheduled already. Now he needs 2 more. And he's still just going to be, he's a sophomore, first semester sophomore in fall 2014. He's still working on his Gen Ed. He's got social science requirement over here. He just noticed that. And he says, well, look, it says any 3-hour course at the 1,000 or 2,000 level in economics, political science, psychology, sociology, anthropology, or geography, except for that one geography course. And it notes that departmental measures are already going to have a 3 hours social science taken because of Econ 250, Eco 250, 2050 rather it's called now, Eco 2050. And so he's got 2 social sciences that he needs to take to finish up his Gen Ed. Students who aren't majoring in our department have 9 hours of social sciences because they don't necessarily taking Eco, but we've got that in our course, so he doesn't have to worry about, but 6. So they can't be in the same, it says, any of those 3, but he can't have them all in the same. He has to have 3 different ones. So he decides, well, I'm going to take, I think I'll take political science. So he's going to take POL 1, I don't know what the number is. Let's call it 1010. Who knows what it really is. Fall 2014. I see that's also showing up as a black number. But he knows he's taking it here, so he wants to change that to a red number because UVa-Wise. So now he's got 1, 2, 3 courses scheduled for fall 2014. But now he knows I need to go ahead and get this accounting underway because accounting turns out to be prerequisite for some other courses down here. See, for example, when he wants to take finally some semester out in the future, he's going to want to take strategic management. He says, oh, this accounting 2020 is actually prerequisite for that. He says that 2020, that's a spring course usually, and that's got a prerequisite of accounting 2010, so I'm going to need to take the 2010. Let's get that out of the way, get my accounting sequence started in fall of 2014. So he schedules that. He can't take the 2020 until he finishes the 2010. He knows that. But he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 courses now for fall. He wants 1 more, and he's decided I want to continue here and get my business major underway. I need to take, what about this course? It's before any of these below it. Usually want to work top down, and so he's looking here at Eco 2020-40, and he could read about what that is in the college catalog, of course, which you can get digitally online. It's really easy to get access to it. And it says, well, the only prerequisite for that is Math A. I've had that, so I'm all set to go. I can do this course. It's 2240, by the way. It's called Quant 1. It's a new course that we've introduced just starting in fall of 2013, but all of our majors have to take it. And it's a prerequisite for some other courses, so he needs to knock that out, get it done, so he's scheduling it for fall 2014. That gives Joe a full schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 15 hours, so he's all set. Now what does he want to do? Well, he's saving this. Of course, he's saved this to his hard drive somewhere, to his media. He's going to send an email to his advisor and attach this checkoff sheet to that email so that his advisor can take a look at it, say, yep, that all makes good sense. I'm going to clear Joe for registration in summer and in fall of 2014. He might not need clearance for summer, but he will need it for fall of 2014. And so his advisor will take a look at it. If it looks like it's in good shape, he will send it back with a message to Joe saying you're all cleared, and then Joe will know that he can go into the student portal when it opens for him, and he'll be all set and ready to register. Okay, well, let's continue our story a little bit further so we can see how this shapes up. So fall 2014 rolls around, and Joe successfully completes all these courses. By the end of the fall 2014, of the December of 2014, he's finished. So now he's going to update his spreadsheet and pre-register for spring of 2015. So he's got to update. He does that by going in and putting in the credit hours, as we've done before, for each of these courses that he successfully completed, I should say, in both the summer, and it turns out Joe is that good student, and he's completed these courses successfully. Notice now he's got 53.5 hours completed, and he's getting ready to register for his spring 2015 semester. And updating here, he knows he's going to take his second accounting course, spring 2015. He is looking here at Econ 2050. He'll have checked the schedule and see if there is one. A lot of times 2050 is just available in the fall, but it might be available in the spring sometimes. He can check the schedule and see. He's thinking about 2060. He says, oh, well, I can see there in my comment, I have to have the 2050 first. I don't need to pay any attention to that. What about this course? Econ 2250, he looks at the prerequisites. He says, well, he's got Business 2110. Can be taken as a co-requisite, but he's actually already finished. He's done that, and he's got his Math A finished, so he can take 2250 if it's available in the schedule. Let's suppose that it is for spring 2015. So now he's got 2 courses planned for spring 2015. He's still got a couple of gen eds over here, or he's got a humanities he needs to take and a social science. He can take those whenever he wants to. There's no rush. He has to get those done before he continues working on his major. Joe does want to continue working on the core requirements because they're generally lower division courses. You can see that the only upper division courses in the core are this COM course. He's got 2 options there, and those are upper division courses, so you probably hang on and wait on those. In fact, when he looks at the message about it, it says that we recommend that students take those in the same semester that they complete the other upper division course in the core, which is the capstone course. Capstone course down here, it says final senior semester, all lower division departmental core courses are prerequisites. My goodness, that's a ways off yet, so he doesn't have to worry about that. So he could, if he wants to, he could chunk in another social science. Maybe he does want to do that. He decides he's going to take Sociology 1000 and get that knocked out in the spring of 2015. So he's scheduling up here. He's got 3 courses, got 2 more to go. Probably he's going to be interested in, since he's got to wait to finish his Econ 250 and 260. Well, he doesn't have to wait. He can take the 2050 if it's available. It may be available in the spring. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. Usually he's going to want to take the 2050 and the 2060 in succeeding semesters. The 2050 comes first. It's a prerequisite for the 2060. So he's probably thinking, well, I'll put those off and wait until the fall of 2015, and I'll start that sequence. What else could he do? Well, he can go down here in Business 3180, BUS 3180, which is Principles of Marketing. Doesn't have any prerequisites. If it did, they would be listed there. So he knows that he can go ahead and take that spring 2015. It is listed as an upper division course, but it doesn't have any prerequisites. There's nothing to bar him from taking that. A lot of the upper division courses have prerequisites, and you're going to need to be aware of those. So don't try to enroll in a course that you don't have the prerequisites for. You can always check that in the catalog. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 courses scheduled. He needs 1 more course for a full load. A lot of students will go ahead and schedule the management course, Principles of Management course, at the same time they're taking Principles of Marketing. Those are 2 fundamental courses in the business major. And they are prerequisites for some of these other courses that are you see in this list, for example. We'll talk about that list in a minute. But we can see that he's got some options here. He can either just stick with this one business course and go ahead and back over here and pick up a humanities. Let's suppose he wants to do that because he's thinking, man, if I get that humanities knocked out, I'll be done with Gen Ed. I don't have to worry about that anymore. So he looks and sees, what's a humanities? I don't know what a humanities is. He says, oh, I can see what it is. It's any 3-hour course from French, German, Spanish, history, philosophy, religion, visual and performing arts, or other literature courses. This requirement is an addition to the literature requirement. So he's got a lot of options there. He could take whatever he wanted to. Let's suppose he's thinking, well, I've got my Spanish. I don't want to do any other foreign language course for whatever reason. That's what he decides. Maybe he kind of liked that philosophy course that he took, Philosophy 26, as part of his Western Heritage. He decided he's going to take another philosophy course, philosophy, maybe it's 3100, I don't know what it is, it's something. Maybe it's, that's too high, let's say it's 2100. I have no idea what philosophy courses might actually be, but he's going to schedule that one, and he realizes that at the end of the spring semester, I'm going to have that all finished, and I'll be done with my Gen Ed. So then he's got that. He's got all this set up. He's got one. He checks it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 courses. That's what I need. Now I need to get cleared by my advisor to pre-register for the spring semester. So what does he do? Well, if he's my advisee, all he has to do is attach this updated spreadsheet to an email message. Send that email message over to me. Asking me to take a look at it. I take a look at it, see if it looks okay to me. Then I clear him in the GensBar system. He's all set to pre-register. So on the story goes. Of course, you know what's going to happen next. The spring semester gets finished. Joe's done well again. And now he's going to update at the end of the spring semester in May of 2015. He taps in the hours that he's earned. He's real happy. He's doing well. He's probably got like a 3.4 grade point average, something like that. He's doing really well. And he looks here and he says, my goodness, I've got 68 half credit hours finished. I'm officially a junior in the fall. I'm doing well here. I can see that I've got 51.5 credit hours left. I've got my Gen Ed all done. It's all just laid out here before him. So now, Joe is... he's an old hand now. He's been working with the B&E checkoff sheet for quite a while. He understands what's going on with it. He's got his hours recorded here. He can always cross-check, and he needs to cross-check, by the way. Each time Joe sends this checkoff sheet to his advisor for the registration in the following semester, he needs to make sure that this hour total here, see I'm hovering over it, says if the checkoff sheet is updated correctly, this total must agree with hours total shown in the registrar's course history or transcript. So he always wants to cross-check with his course history from the student portal in the GensBar system. Make sure that his spreadsheet, his B&E spreadsheet, his checkoff sheet matches up in total hours. Each time he finishes the semester, wants to make sure that he's got that same total showing here as he's got showing in the registrar's records. That way he can have some comfort that he's doing everything just the right way. Well, now he's updating, and so he's planning for the fall 2015 term as a junior. So he says, I'm going to finally get started on my econ here. So this is Principles of Microeconomics, and he's going to do fall 2015. He's excited about getting that scheduled. He can't do 2060 till he finishes that, of course. So he's pretty much done here with a lot of his core requirements. He's thinking, well, I see that they want me to probably take this later on when I'm taking the capstone course. That's always a good idea. He doesn't have to do that, but it's a good idea. Or he might pick it up in the summer. Who knows what he'll do, but he's leaving that open. He's waiting on this. He's going to do this. He says, well, gosh, I'm planning here. Why don't I just go ahead and put in spring 2016? I'm going to get ahead of the game here. So he can tap that in if he wants to. He's taking it here, so it doesn't need to be in black. It needs to be in red. He's taking that UVa-Wise. But notice now, he's planning for fall, but he noticed, well, I know I'm going to take that in spring, so he says, I'm going to go ahead and plan that. And he's going to take, he decides he's going to take in fall of 2015, he's going to do his Principles of Management course, which is required. So that's 2 courses that he's got scheduled. He needs 3 more. He says, well, what about this Strategic Management course, 4850? Am I ready to take that? And he said, oh, no, I'm checking the prerequisites here, and it says that I have to have the Business 3310 done as a prerequisite. And it says prerequisite or co-requisite, the ECO 2250. He's got that done already. The Accounting 2020, he's got that done. So he's not quite ready for the Strategic Management because he doesn't have his Principles of Management done. So he's got to wait on that, but he's looking ahead. See, he's a skilled planner now. He says, I'm going to imagine I'm going to do that in 2016. I know that course is offered every semester, so I'm just planning way ahead here now. I'm looking out 2 semesters now. But he's still got a couple of more, 3 courses. In fact, he's only got 2 scheduled for fall of 20. I didn't get that number right. Let me change that so that it reads correctly, 2015. He needs 3 more courses to have a full load for fall of 2015. So now he says, well, what about these? I don't see anything here. What can I do? And it shows him that if you have the prerequisites for it, you could choose any of these courses from this list. Well, now, he doesn't know what the prerequisites are for these courses, so how's he going to find out? They're not listed on the spreadsheet. There's no room to put a comment in a comment, so it's too much information to get into the spreadsheet. So he's going to have to go to the college catalog and read to see what the prerequisites are for some of these courses he might be interested in. Well, I happen to know that Principles of Management is a prerequisite for some of these courses. I think it's a prerequisite for the Conflict Management. It's a prerequisite for Human Resource Management. I don't think it's a prerequisite for Social Issues and Business Ethics, so he could take that. It's not a prerequisite for Fin 3820. He might not have any interest in finance, but he might. If he does, he can check that out. So he's looking here to see if he can take some of these courses to start to finish up part of what we call the major requirements in our degree with a major in business. It's 5 courses, but he has a bunch of options here. So he's just going to have to do some work here and look in the catalog and see if he's got prerequisites done and of course what he's interested in. Is he interested more in management in his business administration major, or is he interested more in the technical aspects of business such as finance and accounting? So he can make his decisions, but let's suppose that Joe is interested in management, and he decides, well, I need to find out, do I have the prerequisites? He's really interested in this Business 3620. So what he can do is, if he, like me, if he has a digital copy of the catalog, he can go to that, pop it open, and he can look at business courses, click business courses here, and then he can scroll down and he finds 3620. He's hunting for 3620, and it says, oh, it says prerequisite or co-requisite. Oh, good. He's going to take BUS 3310 in fall 2015. Says here that he can take 3620 as a co-requisite, so he's happy about that. So he's going to go ahead and schedule. He says, I like that. So type in here BUS 3620 is my choice for that course, and he's scheduling that for fall 2015. So there he goes. I can't write 2015. Evidently, I'm having trouble with that number. So get it straight. There we go. Fall 2015. So now he's got 1, 2, 3. He's got 2 more to go. Well, what should he do? He looks here and he says, let me check. Let me see about conflict management. So he goes back to the catalog and sees what he's got there. Conflict management. What was that? He's just scanning through, and he notices, he says, goodness, look here. Business 3750, organizational leadership. Its only prerequisite is the English course. I could do that, and I'm really interested in leadership. I was looking for conflict management, but look what I find when I start looking. And anyway, conflict management says right here, has a prerequisite. That's not a co-requisite, it's a prerequisite. I can't take that anyway, but I can take the business 3750, and I'm interested in that anyway. That's a course I wanted to take. I'm going to go ahead and schedule it. BUS 3750. So I'm planning to do that for fall of 2015. So fall 2015. So what has he got? 1, 2, 3, 4 courses that he's planning. He's already looking ahead to spring. He needs one more course for a full load. So what's he going to do? Well, this leads us to beginning to consider finally the restricted electives. And this is about the time that Joe should be thinking about the restrictive electives, by the way. He needs a lot of these courses done before he should even begin to think about these why. Let's see. Any course at the 3,000 or 4,000 level offered in the Department of Business Economics. He's got 5 of those to do, but he has to have the prerequisites for them, which means he needs to have finished a lot of what's over here in the core and probably some of what's here in the major requirements. So we want students not to begin looking here at restricted electives until they have knocked out most of the core requirements, if not all of them, and several of the major requirements. Let's see what this final pinkish looking block here says. Free electives. What's that? This says any college level course whatsoever. Students must complete enough free electives to reach the 120-hour total. I encourage my majors, save these for the end. Save these for the semesters that you want to be taking, stuff that you want to be taking, not stuff that's going to grind you down, because by the time you're taking these courses, you'd like to be maybe final semester senior, or at least senior standing, and you're starting to think about looking in the job market. You don't want a bunch of stuff weighting you down while you're looking in the job market. You want some time. So save those free electives for the end. But he needs one more course. What's he going to take? Well, he's got any restricted elective, any 3,000 or 4,000 level course offered in the Department of Business and Economics, for which he has the prerequisites. Of course, he has to have the prerequisites. He can't enroll in a course he hasn't completed the prerequisites for. Well, we know that Joe is interested in management type issues. He's not very much interested in finance and these kinds of things. He's more interested in the people skills, and so he's looking at this list and saying, well, I could take any of those that are listed there that I had the prerequisites for, but I don't see anything that I'm really interested in. But in these spots, this BUS 4500. He says, well, let me see what that is. So he doesn't have the information here. Where does he go? He goes back to the catalog, of course. So he pops open his digital catalog here. I'm going to make this a little bit larger so that we can read it a little more easily. And he starts scanning down here. He says, well, what was that organizational behavior? Ah, he's in luck. BUS 4500, organizational behavior. He likes the looks of that, reads the description. Says co-requisite. He's taking 3310 in fall of 2015, but says here he can get in it because he will be taken as a co-requisite. He's real happy about that. Goes back to his checkoff sheet. He says, that's what I'm going to do. BUS 4500. I'm going to do that in fall 2015. Now I'm ready. I've got it all scheduled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 courses for fall 2015. So he's going to send this spreadsheet on to his advisor. Maybe visit with his advisor if his advisor likes to see his advisees face to face. If he has any questions, if Joe has some questions, he can either write an email and get his questions answered, or go make an appointment, see his advisor, get some advice. But he's ready to ship this off and get it approved and get cleared to register for fall 2015. He's already looking ahead to spring of 2016. Who knows, maybe Joe's really ready to go ahead and look all the way to the end at this time and fill in and show what he's planning to take and when he's planning to take it. See, for example, he knows that he's going to be taking BUS 4990 in spring of 2017. That's going to be his final senior semester. And he's already decided that he's going to take his COM requirement here in spring of 2017 as well. So he's look at Joe's looking way ahead here, and he's beginning to get a real solid picture of how this is all going to play out and what he's going to need to do. But maybe he's done now, he's tired working on this, so he ships it off to his advisor. And his advisor clears him, and he completes his semester. He completes the fall 2015 semester. It's time now. We'll do this one more time. He's ready now to update his spreadsheet. How does he do it? You know how he does it. He fills in the hours that he's completed. He's completed this course successfully in fall. He completed the Management Principles course. He completed the Conflict Management course. No, that was ethics. I'm sorry, the Social Ethics and Business Ethics course. And he completed his Leadership course, and he completed his Organizational Behavior. He sees he's got 83.5 hours completed. He needs 36.5 hours to finish his degree. Here he is. He's finished his fall semester. He's got a couple of courses already planned for his spring semester. He's going to just go through this cycle again, just like we've already shown a couple of times now. And that's how you use this B&E checkoff sheet to see what you've finished, to see what you've got remaining to do, and to plan ahead as far as you'd like to. Now, some students like to plan way ahead and see all the way to the end of the tunnel and try to plan their course schedule way out all the way to completion. Not everybody likes to do that. Some people do. If you're one of those students who like to do that, go for it. You see how it can be done, and it's just that simple. Okay, now what I'm going to do, just for one last thing here that I'm going to do to finish up this little video that I'm preparing for you to show you how to use the B&E checkoff sheet. I'm going to select a different tab here that we haven't used before because Joe's a business major, because I want to show you what a transfer student is likely to need to do. And to do that, I'm going to start with a completely clean slate here. So maybe this isn't Joe Cool Tester. This is Bobcat. Who's transferring in from Mountain Empire. And Bobcat has finished an AA degree, and he's got 62 hours of transfer credit that he's transferring in from Mountain Empire. So he puts in, he's probably working with his advisor when he's beginning to set this spreadsheet up in the first place. Puts in 62 hours, and this is 2014, let's say, is the catalog that he's entering in, and he's going to declare a major in accounting, and so he's checking. He's got the accounting tab checked down here. He's working on this spreadsheet for fall of 2015 is when he's coming in. So it's like August 22nd, 2014. He types in the date, okay, and he's got his student ID number, 47, whatever. He gets that right off his CAF card, and he's got his email address, whatever that is, and he puts that in to make this complete. All this information here is going to make it easy for his advisor to find out his information when he needs to see it. The student ID number off the CAF card is very important. Anytime you contact your advisor, probably anytime you contact any office at the college, it's not going to hurt if you tell them what your student ID number is. They're going to be able to find your records much faster. You wouldn't believe how many different people we have at the college over the years who've had exactly the same name. That's what that ID number helps us with. And then, of course, if you've got your email address put in here properly, your advisor could just click that and send you an email just that fast. So put those things in there. So here's Bobcat, and he's a transfer student. And he has heard that, well, when you have an AA degree, guess what? aside from your foreign language requirement, you've probably finished all of your gen ed requirements. And that leads us to something I hadn't shown before. And if this doesn't apply to you, if you're like Joe Cool Tester, you don't need to listen to the rest of this. But if you're a transfer student, you probably need to follow this pretty closely and see what's going on. It goes down here to the GNE 2000. He hovers over there. It was a long message. Sorry that it's so long, but it's a little complicated. What it really means is that aside from the foreign language requirement, if you've got an AA degree from a community college, you're going to be able to transfer in up to 62 hours from a community college, and if it's the right AA degree, the Associate of Arts degree as it's called, you're going to be satisfying all of these green block courses as you transfer in. And so what do? This is Bobcat's situation. So he enters the total transfer credits minus the number of credit hours that he uses elsewhere in the degree program. See, whatever courses he took in his AA degree, they may transfer in for some of our B and E core requirements. Quite likely, if Mr. Bobcat has planned well, that was his intention in the first place. So let's see how this works. We're going to use the formula here now. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to first put in here, I'm just going to say, put the formula here. I'm going to put it for equals what? Well, I'm going to want this to say the contents of this cell is going to equal my transfer credit hours, 62, minus, and then I'm going to put a couple of parentheses in here because what I'm just going to put in a 0 here right now just to hold the space. So I've got that formula set up. I'm going to show you how it works. So I've got 62 hours. He's going to need to consult his course history, his transcript that he got cleared through the registrar, and send it over to the registrar when he enrolled at UVa-Wise. And what he's going to want to do is consult his course history and see what he's been given credit for, because he's going to go ahead and enter in here. Notice this now should be black. I don't know what's red, but since transfer credits, I'm going to turn that to black the way it's supposed to be. See, it says black hours or transfer credits. Well, these are all transfer credits coming in. But as part of his AA degree, guess what Bobcat did? He took Accounting 1, Accounting 2, Econ 1, Econ 2, and he had this COM course as well. All this was part of his Community College Associates of Arts degree. He's got these on his transcript already. Now, all the rest of the credit hours don't apply to any of ours. And none of these courses that are listed here, other than those that he take. These were all transfer credits, so he's going to turn those to black just to make it clear in the checkoff sheet that those were in fact transfer credits. So it takes just a minute to turn them to black. It makes it easy for anyone looking at this. They can say, oh, those were transfer credits. But now what does he want to do? He's going to go back over here. He can't double count, so you go back over here. He's got the total of 62 transferred into UVa-Wise, but he needs to subtract off these that he's showing somewhere else in our B&E checkoff sheet. So he clicks on the COM 1000 hours, so he's going to get that one, and he says I'm going to add to that the accounting, add to that. See, I'm clicking the plus sign here. This course, the second course in accounting, add to that. The econ course, and add to that the last one, the other econ course, and then he completes that formula, boom. Well, it didn't go boom. There we go. Now he's showing 47 hours. Down here, he's showing the balance of that 62 hours where they can count. Notice that he knows he's done this correctly because it shows total hours completed 62, which is what he's got. He transferred in 62 hours. He's all set to do what? He's all set to do just exactly what we showed with Joe Cool Tester before. He can now plan for his fall 2014 schedule just in the very same way. He doesn't need to worry about any of the courses over here in the green block because he's got an entry here for the GNE 2000. He's got all these satisfied except what? Turns out that poor old Bobcat, he didn't do foreign language. He did not do foreign language as part of his Associate of Arts degree, so he still needs to do that. Okay, well, how's he going to show that? He's not going to mess around over here. He knows, he's got in the back of his mind, I don't need to do anything in the green block, but he's got to do the foreign language. The way I want you to do this is he just schedules them as free electives, because indeed when he takes them, that's how they're going to show up in his degree audit. So he's going to schedule Spanish 101, whatever its number actually is for fall 2014. Notice he's putting that in red because he's taking it from UVa-Wise, and it's going to be used as a free elective in Bob Bobcat's case. And then he knows that he's going to do Spanish. He thinks he knows he's going to do Spanish 1020 in spring of 2015. So you could go ahead and plan that. And he's already aware of the fact he hasn't got the foreign language requirement he must have. He's got everything else in the green block for the gen ed requirements. That's where his foreign language is going to show up. Everything else for Bob Bobcat as a transfer student works exactly the same. He's going to schedule courses. He's going to get those courses approved by his advisor and get cleared for registration when the time comes, and off he goes. Well, that's pretty much it. I've taken a little bit of time here and shown you how to use the Department of Business and Economics checkoff sheet, which should be a great tool for you to plan your courses each semester and keep up with where you are, what you've got remaining.